With the newest Hearthstone expansion, Murder at Castle Nathria, you're probably wondering, what are the best decks so far? Well, let me tell you. Probably the easiest deck to recommend so far has been Druid. Druid already looked really good before the expansion, and Druid got a lot of very powerful cards in this set to basically enable them to kill you even faster than you ever could believe, because Druid got Widow Bloom Seedsman. This card on its own gives Druid an extra ramp, and on top of that, an extra draw. This card seems a little bit too bonkers. They might have to tone it down, but Druid also works extremely well with Sire Denathrius because of the ability to play a bunch of tokens and basically infuse your Sire Denathrius to the point where they one-shot your opponent. But the most important card right now in Druid's arsenal is Celestial Alignment. This card has been a problem in the past, and I think more than ever with Sire Denathrius, Celestial Alignment is going to be one of the best cards in the game, and I would not be surprised if the developers decide to nerf it for basically the reason that it's very unfun to play against, but also it's enabling this very good Druid deck. It's also very consistent at drawing Sire Denathrius, and if you need another win condition, you still have Kazakhstan. Druid just seems really good. And this isn't probably the best version. This is just the version that I played day one. All right, chat again. I'm very sorry for what I'm about to do. Oh, that seems like a really good card. I think the killer went this way. No, that's just someone who's not subscribed. Next on the list is Imp Warlock. And other than Druid, I have a feeling that Imp Warlock is going to be considered for nerfs because of basically one card, which is the Vile Library. This card coming down on turn 2 and with the package of Fiendish Circle makes often minions played on turn 1 into like a 7/8. And most decks can't deal with that amount of stat that early on. And if they can't answer it, you pretty much won the game on turn 3 majority of the time. Now, this is the version that I was using. I was using a top end of Mr. Smite, Sire Denathrius as an alternative win condition, but you could pretty much go with whatever you want as long as you're running the basic imp package into the deck. And in case you run out of cards, not only do you have life tap, but you also have Impending Catastrophe, which is absolutely insane card draw. We've never really seen card draw this good before. And my personal favorite is Theotar the Mad Duke. You could use this card to basically give your opponent a bad imp, take one of their really good cards if you need another win condition. Again, this deck is really good. It snowballs out of control, and if you're looking for a pretty fast, easy climb, this might be for you. I actually get to steal the Prester here. It's free, dude, because he took it. You can have an amalgam. The next deck is Evolve Shaman. Evolve Shaman got a lot of really good tools in this expansion. We're talking Muck pools, we're also talking Baroness Vosh. But the main reason Evolve Shaman is still so good is that it could fight for the board very competitively, and Snowfall Guardian exists. The benefit of this entire deck, by the way, is that if you are able to get on board and your opponent can't answer it, you trade favorably and then you evolve your stuff using things like Convincing Disguise. Primordial Wave, which has been surprisingly one of the best cards I've played so far in the set. Devolve is a good card. Evolve was a pretty good card, so if you put that together, it probably means you have a really good card on your hands. You also have Brucon if you're looking to finish off some games, but arguably the strongest thing you could be doing is Tiny Toys into Convincing Disguise. If you're able to get that off, it is a bunch of 7-drops that quite literally your opponent won't be able to deal with. Wildpaw Cavern, like normal, has been a really powerful card. Not only gives you additional minions to evolve for, the ability to freeze a big imp or stop your big Druid opponent from attacking with a dragon has been really important. Overall, Evolve Shaman looks really good, and if you want to play Shaman, I would highly recommend it. This might be a surprise for a lot of you, but Secret Mage actually performed very well for me on the first day. I didn't lose a single game in a 5-game sample size, and the main idea of this deck is just fight for the board early with some, pretty good minions overall. Secrets start piling on, and then you basically kill your opponent with burn damage with cards like Fireball, Frozen Touch, and Ruined Orb. You also have Dawn's Grasp in case you need additional spells, and Orion, as much as I thought he was going to be bad, if you are ahead and you can play this card is a monster to deal with, and it did win me a game on its own. I think the real reason why this deck is surprisingly great is that people don't really expect this archetype from Mage right now. A lot of people expect them to do the Kalsad Frozen control thing, but if you're coming at them with Anonymous Informant and cards like Sketchy Stranger, they don't really expect that early game damage from the Mage, and then you can just finish them off with burn. One of the best cards by far has been Chatty Bartender. This card on its own, again, against like Imp Warlock can be the difference of you winning or losing the game. Because there's so many ways to discover cards in this deck, there is so many different ways of finding additional damage. Craft this at your own risk, but it was a really good deck that I played on day one. Maybe this actually does something and it's not just an absolute just 3/5 for 4 mana that I played. This guy's looking at the card like, what is this? I've never seen this. Me either, dude. Me either.
Thank you to Firestone for sponsoring this video. If you want to level up your Hearthstone game, make sure you're using Firestone. Firestone helps you keep track of your deck, what's in it, what you played, and what's in your hand. Firestone also keeps track of what your opponent has played, what potential secrets they could have, and so much more information that will help you win more. Firestone also keeps track of every single game you played, and you can also watch each individual replay to see what exactly went wrong and how you won or lost the game. Firestone also keeps track of your entire collection to let you know how much of each set you've actually completed. It also lets you know how many packs you opened over the years in case you were curious how many classic packs you've actually ended up opening. There is a bunch of achievements that you can go for in Firestone to show off to all your friends. Firestone is the perfect companion to have while playing Hearthstone, so make sure you download it with the link in the description.
This might come as a surprise, but Demon Hunter does a lot of damage, and with the new archetype that was provided in this expansion, they do a lot of damage extremely fast. The new build is basically you play a very low curve, dropping a minion every single turn, emptying your hand, and basically refilling it with Magnifying Glaive and Crisis to basically consistently have ways to kill your opponents while you consistently drop threats onto the board. I have died to this deck on turn 2. Feels like it never runs out of resources because of the cards that it's given. You could fight for the board so aggressively because of cards like Multi-Strike, and Kurtrus is still insane for this deck. It is a very good top end. It adds additional damage because of the hero power, and quite literally, this deck is an absolute monster. I feel like if you're going against a lot of Warlock, this is a really good deck to play. I would highly recommend this deck if you're looking for a very cheap deck to climb quickly. Also, this card might be extremely broken. I'm not 100% sure, but turns out if your hand is empty and you can just give yourself 3 attack, it's pretty great. Miracle Rogue is a deck once again because of basically Necrolord Draka, but more importantly, the Sinstone Graveyard, which is arguably one of the strongest cards that we can see in the expansion. It's basically summoning an Edwin Van Cleef with stealth. It's pretty great. And as you could probably imagine, the whole deck is around just you getting a bunch of cheap spells, backstabs, preparations. The Loan Shark gives you some coins, which fun interaction. You can go Shatter Shambler into Loan Shark to get 2 coins immediately, and basically letting your Draka give you the biggest weapon possible. The alternative win condition to this deck is basically Edwin Defias Kingpin. If those 2 fail, you're kind of out of luck, and that's why they call it Miracle Rogue. There are times where you can just get a really big weapon on turn 2 and win the game. Other times you'll summon a really big minion on turn 2. The possibilities with this deck are endless. You pretty much just have to play with the hand that you're given, and hopefully you can win a game early enough before your opponent can stabilize. If you love playing Miracle Rogue, this deck is really good. It's a little bit more high skill cap, but I'm sure you'll do great. The last deck is some kind of Wild Seed Hunter with Prince Renethal to give you 40 cards. As you could probably imagine, the main idea of this is running big beasts, and then you hopefully have enough value in the deck to win a game. There's just a bunch of ways to finish off games, and of course you're running King Crush for the lethal. This deck is pretty self-explanatory. You pretty much want to play on curve and just win a game as Hunter. Hunter is Hunter. I don't know what else you want me to say. If you have any awesome deck lists, let me know, and these are the best decks so far. The meta is probably bound to change. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.